Now, your senior police officer in the district which is notorious for its drug consumption. So basically drug issue. Okay. So it's a problematic issue for the youth and other. It's a long-term impact also obviously assumed. You have made detailed arrangements within your jurisdiction to check all the cases of drug smuggling into district. Okay. For this purpose, you have also involved private individuals doing petty jobs to tip off your department in the case of consignment is smuggled to ferry services. Now, one day, one of your secret informants who works for a ferry service company owned by Mr. K calls you and tells you about the consignment. So obviously now he is your informant, you are SP. So you are in police department. So obviously not SP, you are a senior police officer, whatever way it is. Now, point is your informants are there obviously because that's how you practically work. You cannot say that no, it's not ethical to keep informants. You cannot but do this. There is no option but to have them because they are trusted ones. Now that will be shipped via a ferry late in the night. You alert your department and conduct a raid on the ferry, but you discover that it was carrying only domestic goods and no drugs were found on the boat. Now this is the problem. Now you call your informant and he tells you that Mr. K had some prior information about the raid, okay, having the information of raid beforehand, and he cancelled the shipping of drugs at the last moment. Suspecting an informant within his team, Mr. K cries foul to the MLA and CM. Now this is the tricky point as to why Mr. K, or in what way, in what capacity Mr. K has the ability, and in what way he has got the chance to talk to CM or MLA. So there is some problem here of the state. Okay, MLA and the CM of the state, grieving that his reputation had suffered a blow as the event caught substantial media coverage. He started pressurizing the CM to conduct an inquiry into the false raid so can get hold of the secret informant. Now you are summoned by the CM and are asked by disclose the identity of the informant for investigation purposes. What are the main ethical issues in the case? How does integrity and probity manifest in this case? What are your options? Discuss their merits and demerits, and obviously choose one of the options is obvious after that, right? Now, what is the case here basically? The most important thing is, as we already discussed, what is the case, that is fact of the case or whatever you want to name it. What is the case? So the first important thing that you should be talking about is the case. First, having the structure, you might have realized that first I have the structure. I'm not going to write it I'm not suggesting that you should write first there. You can do it by pencil. Okay. First have brainstorming and by pencil you can write so that you can guide yourself as to, where to stop and where to start your new point. It helps. Okay. So then comes point number A, ethical issues. Okay. Then comes basically integrity and probity. Then C comes as options. Generally, whenever options comes, you can always use this. Option 1, you mention whatever is the option here, and here merit, demerit. Then comes option 2, same thing. Then you write merit, demerit. It won't take full page, but yeah. Option 3, again you write merit and demerit. This is like what are the options, merits and demerits that they are asking. But obviously, you should be writing the choice. Okay, but whenever it's like I choose option 3 and whatever the reason for that, and then again whenever you choose option, what you have to write? Efforts to reduce impact, efforts to minimize, rather efforts to minimize demerits, or you can write minimize demerits. That also can be, whichever way you can just write minimizing demerits and then write some 2-3 actions that you'll be taking so that you can minimize those demerits, right? Now what would you do in this case? Number 1, again you write the facts, what exactly happened and who and all that. Okay. Then what is the role, that what I can do and what I cannot do. Responsibilities, what I must do, what I must take responsibility of. Then challenges, and then is ethical issues. Then see, separately they have asked, so what you do is you don't write ethical issues here, you just take a break from here, and what you do is you write ethical issues here. So what are the ethical issues involved? And basically integrity and probity is also one of the ethical issues only. Okay, the first is law abidingness. Okay, or another word for this is due procedure. So if your senior is saying, you cannot say no, due procedure. Then comes issue, okay, basically this promise to informants or informants trust, basically trust versus order, instruction, senior's instruction. Then okay, conscience versus professional duty or professional obligation, we should write. Conscience versus professional obligation. These are coming into conflict with one another. Then perhaps as the continuation of this, now this is, you have to mention in one line what the message here is. I am just mentioning this, the message that law abidingness is the, now if when senior asks you, it's my responsibility to abide by the law and the procedure, being the junior officer. So obviously MLA MP says, then there's a public representative, you have to do something about it. So that is also one thing. Okay, now integrity versus probity. Now here integrity means basically same thing, trust of informants. But second, integrity, what defines integrity here? Or you can do one thing again, because they have put one again the other, why don't you write like this? Integrity and probity. Then safety of, basically safety of informant, trust of informant. Okay, now these informants are very important in the long term availability of informant. Okay, overall morale of the team. So it's a responsibility that you have. Then probity, answerable to CM, accountable to every decision in the official capacity. Okay, then another thing is procedural aspect. Now probity means you cannot diverge from the procedural aspects also. Okay, now what are options do you have? Basically you have two options only here. You no need to write third option because it's not very complex. So there are only two options. One, tell the name or disclose the identity, basically. Disclose the identity. And do not disclose the identity. And again, some points of here as to what you support, what is the demerit. Here also what is the merit and what is the demerit. And choice is do not disclose. Now why here is because being an informant, the personal trust is more. And then utility of that person in future public duties, in future like in fulfilling your future public duties. Okay, so I don't think there is any point in giving the information of informants here, because again there also seem to be an issue here because the MLA and others are unnecessarily having pressurizing the what we can say pressurizing the CM and the MLA. That pressurization itself is illegal, and again you have to reduce the effort, this thing that will otherwise cooperate in investigation. Okay, also keep an eye, also monitor the very informant, maybe because that informant also might have gone wrong deliberately. So to some extent, because you can, someone can break trust only when you have trust. So trust is like some kind of blinding of eye, then only the other person can take benefit of it.